Yo, guys, what's going on? I am your host, Skills. Welcome to another episode of the Spark Something podcast. And I want you guys to do me a favor while we go on this journey. I need you guys to make room. We're going to make some room for growth, for grace, and a real conversation. Now, let's get into this episode. Yo, guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the Spark Something podcast. I'm your host, Skills. Thank you guys for coming back, lending me your ears, tuning in. Thank you for another opportunity to, just be a voice that can encourage you guys on this journey through life. And I praise God for it. So let's get into this episode. Um, I know the last episode was entitled Living in a Body That God Can Use. And that one I was extremely excited about. So I kind of just like da 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 just gave you guys a lot of information at once, and I kind of just like ran through it. I was excited about it, so I'm hoping that that one blessed you guys. Thank y'all for all the views and everything. I appreciate it. So as I'm on this journey, of course, I've gotten questions. How do you stay motivated? Like that is the question. That is the question. How are you staying motivated? How are you, like, are you still going to the gym? Like, how are you really getting this done? And I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I'm still in my beginning stages. So I'm not ripped. I'm not like in crazy shape, but I can see certain things in my body beginning to change slowly. It's 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 nice to actually be able to view that, because I've started and stopped almost everything in my life. And the one thing that I have really like just stuck with, one is my marriage, my relationship with my husband, and this this gym life. This is the one. These are the two things that I've stuck with. Everything else in my life, I have gone on a roller coaster ride of just feeling as though I'm not enough and psyching myself out, and you know one minute I'm amped and I'm ready and I'm pumped and I'm going for it. And then the next minute, I'm going to be honest with you, after about 10 days, I probably said this in another episode. After about 10 days, guys, I'm like, man, bump this. And I would say that because I've gone about things um, for the wrong reasons. I've, my why was never big enough. And I'll say that. Um, my why wasn't big enough to the point to where it made me like stop in my tracks. And when the thoughts came, the negative thoughts, or when the thoughts of psyching myself out and saying, nah, we don't have to finish this, like we can just go to the next thing, and jumping from one thing to the next, to the next, and to the next, that whole thing, having conversations like that with myself, or just thinking like, okay, this is really hard, and because it's so difficult, I don't have to finish this. But in having that happen so many times, I genuinely built up this wall to where I didn't trust myself. Like I didn't believe in myself. And when people let me down, it was like it was shattering. But I never really looked at it from an angle of when I let myself down. And when I started like looking at that, that was genuinely when I had to like really sit with myself. And lately, guys, I've been sitting with myself. Lately, I have been, if I can be honest with you guys, I've been going through this purging process that I've genuinely probably wanted to bypass for so long, because I'm like, this is uncomfortable. This is too hard. I'm gonna move forward. I'm gonna just, I can get up from here. I'm gonna just find something to distract me. And if I can be honest with you guys, it was in the distractions that I had that really stopped me from moving forward. It was in the distractions or the vices that I would have around me that would allow me to just be like, all right, I'm good at this. I'm gonna do what I'm good at. Okay, I'm good at that. I don't want to work on the things that need to be worked on because that's too hard right now. like that season of my life is too difficult. But it's like there'll come a time when you you come to the end of yourself, bro or sis. There will come a time where you get to a point in your life to where you just come to the end of it and you're like, well, I can't go backwards. I and you'll just and if you do go backwards, you'll never actually see what's on the other side of the wall. I spoke about that in the last episode. But you'll never actually see what's on the other side of this. You'll never actually like walk into the promises that God has for you outside of the trauma that you keep rehearsing. And I'm talking to myself, but I could never go past the trauma, the traumatic experiences that I had. I could never go past the things that I went through in my life. And not to say that none of that stuff matters, but I'm gonna be honest with you, and this might come off a little harsh, but I had to sit in this and I had to sit in the reality of it that nobody really cared. Not too many people really cared about the things that I had experienced in my life, and they saw me or they knew me, 15, 20, 30 years ago. Well, I'm 35 now, but they saw me, years ago. And, now that I'm an adult, I can say, man, this happened to me. And it did. And it's real life. And it's something that I had to live. But as an adult, this is also something that I have to overcome. I can't expect the people that hurt me to fix me. I can't expect the things that caused me pain to now heal me or complete me. That'll never happen. So the question is, how do I stay motivated while I'm going to the gym? After dealing with all of that, because I had to say all of that to bring it to you guys, because we went straight in, but my why had to be so much greater than my will to want to like give up. And my why, if I can keep it a buck with you, outside of meeting the trainer and me having a real conversation with him, once I really sat with myself and I kind of like isolated myself and, logged off of socials and kind of like, distanced myself from certain things and people and situations, because I really needed to like I needed God to fix some things within me. I needed him to purge me of a lot of stuff. And I wasn't where I needed to be. And there were things that I was missing along my journey. So my why, my why was that. Like, okay, I feel like I'm stuck. I feel like I've reached a point in my life to where I don't know what's next. And because I don't trust myself, I don't really know which way to go. Because I don't trust myself, I really don't trust people. And it's a bad thing to be around people that you don't trust. It's a bad thing to be out in the open and moving and doing and building things and it being in its infancy stage, and you can't really maneuver from here because you're like, no, I need to protect this. I need to hold it close. I need to. And it's like, if you don't give, it's like, I say it like this, it's like a wound. If you get a cut, you can put a band-aid on it, you can put ointment on it, you can keep it covered. But after a while, we're just talking about a cut. After a while, you're gonna have to give it some air. You're gonna have to allow the air to hit it. You allow the air to hit it, and it helps it to heal. So you're going to have to give it room to heal. And I'm like, I never really wanted to let this part go. So there were things that I never released to God. And I'm like, okay, what am I why am I holding on to this? I'm in my 30s now. And I got to a point where I'm like, dude, I'm 5 years away from 40. What am I gonna be doing in my 40s? Like, what is my life gonna look like? Because the future is now. My past is already my past. I can't relive that. But my future is now. And I can't allow my future to continue to be affected by the things that I went through in my past. And I need to be able to walk into different places and spaces and show up in these places and spaces as who I am right now today. And if who I am right now today is a representation or reflection of the things that happened to me, and that's the only identity that I have, I'm not going to be able to stand in these places and spaces and in these rooms because I'm always going to be afraid. So I started going to the gym for for that reason, for confidence, I started going to the gym because I started like really dealing with myself. If you genuinely, if you don't know where to start, I'm gonna give you this tip. Just start pouring into yourself. I'm not talking about money. If you don't have money, that's cool. I'm not talking about financially. Start loving on yourself. If you can't make it to a gym, just start walking and do that constantly. Say, okay, this is what I want to do. And I'm going to do this amount of times a week. I'm going to do this for this long and hold yourself to it. Hold yourself accountable. And a lot of people are like, well, I don't know how to do that. Why did you pick this thing? Not because it sounds great, but why do you want to do it? And it has to be something that's literally going to, I don't want to use the word convince, but that's the only thought that's the only word that I have right now. But it has to literally be something that's going to convince you, persuade you, or sway you into always coming back to doing the thing you said you were going to do. So, outside of me not being able to trust myself, I also thought about it like this. This is how I started. I'll tell you this. This is how I started, like with the mindset of going to the gym. I asked myself, I said, okay, how long do I want to live? I'm like, dang, I don't know. Because I'm going to be honest with you, I spent a lot of my years like just waiting for all of this to be over. Um, I didn't have, I couldn't see my life. I couldn't see life at the end of the tunnel. I couldn't. I'm like, okay, it's happening. That's cool. But I was literally like a dead man walking. You feel me? And I knew God, and I was still a dead man walking. I'm like, eventually, all is gonna be over. So, I don't really want to get my hopes too high. And I'm like, why not? So I I began to look at the people that I knew, the older people, my lineage. I don't know too many people further, like great, 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 great grandparents and aunts and uncles. I don't know all of them back there. I know the people that I know. So I began to look at the span of the people that I knew that probably have passed on that are still here. And I'm like, what? Everyone that I know in my family that has passed away due to some type of illness, whether it's high blood pressure, whether it's like a heart attack, or it's HIV, or it's cancer. I've lost a lot of people to cancer. Um, but it's always some type of sickness. And then I realized, like, okay, what's in like, what are we eating? Like, what am I eating? What am I, like, what is it? Because these people have passed on, so they, you know, what is it? And I'm like, it's really in what I'm eating. It's in the desserts and the delectables and all the good stuff that's been passed down from generation to generation. I'm like, I can cook that, I can cook that. And I'm just like, okay, I know what I'm doing. But I also have to realize, like, okay, I don't know if they had a thought process of how long I want to live. I might not live to see the age that I said, but that age is my age. That age isn't for everybody. That's a personal thing because it's just a question that you ask yourself, and you're like, okay, that's what we're gonna do. And if I don't make it to that age, the one thing that I always tell myself is if I don't make it to the age that I said I wanted to live, which God has the answer to that, I don't want to feel like I'm dying while I'm still alive. I want my body to not be aching while I'm like still here. That's also a thought for me. That might not be a thought for everybody else. That might not get you over your hurdle, but it got me over mine because that was my why. Outside of, how I felt about myself, I'm like, I want to start this to get this together. And then I'm like, what's the next thing? Because if that doesn't work, I needed things that were going to work, that was going to, because I knew you would ask me, what motivates you? And I'll say, motivation actually went out the window 10 days into this. So now, because we started around April, and I started not knowing what I wanted to do. I started not having a plan. My goal was to just keep going. That was my goal. That's still my goal. My goal is to keep going because I know if I keep showing up, the results have to show up too. If I keep going, something has to change. But I'm not just saying keep going to the gym. I'm saying keep that can be a foundation and I'm going to build on that. I'm going to keep building on that. But I need to be able to keep that the main thing. If that's going to be my base, keep it my base. If I say, "Okay, God, me and you we're going to do this." No matter who comes or who doesn't come. No matter if I invite people and they don't show up, I'm still going. No matter if these people come and we doing this together, I'm still I know you're gonna meet me there. Okay, let's go. And that's how it happened. I needed a place where it was just me and God. And I know that God will meet me anywhere because He met me in the middle of my pain. So every time I speak to God and I need Him to meet me, He always meets me there. But I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get up from here. And as I'm getting up from here, I need to know that you're with me. And he's been with me this entire time. That's also why I haven't stopped because I'm like, Lord, you're there, I'm there too. Lord, you're here, I'm there too. Lord, as I move and as I progress, and I know that it's not a lot of people in my family that actually take care of their health. It's not a lot of people that I know personally that's taking care of their health. It's not a lot of people that I can talk to that are taking care of their health. I'm meeting people on this journey, which is amazing. But at the same time, my why has to be my why because I've given up on everything that I've ever tried. I've given up on all of the things that I've said I wanted to do, and after a while, I look like a liar. And I never wanted my life to look like that. I never wanted to be that type of person that's like, oh, yo, I'm working on this. And I get that dopamine hit, not knowing that that's what it was until I really isolated and I sat with the Lord and I sat with myself and I dealt with these things personally alone. I cried. There were days where I wept. There were moments and places where I wept. These last couple months, I've wept more than I've smiled, but it's something that needed to happen because there's a purging that has been happening in my spirit. And it's not a bad thing. It can get dark, I will say that. But in that, there's still light. If we say, Lord, come with me in this, please. Because I don't know what I know what it looks like to go back. And I don't want to keep going around in circles. So I'm moving forward. But yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. For you are with me. And I need you to be with me on this journey because it's dark over there and I'm walking. Okay? So my thought was, or my why outside of me wanting to build my confidence and build, things within myself and say, hey, I'm gonna go on this journey and I'm not gonna quit on this. And this is the first thing that I'm doing for myself. And I'm like, I ain't gonna quit on. We're gonna keep moving forward. And I'm only talking about it on the podcast. I'm only talking about it for like the ones that's like really locked in and y'all listening. I appreciate y'all. So I'm not talking about it anywhere else, you know? So as I'm going on this journey, I'm like, okay, motivation's gone. I need to keep going though. Because once motivation's out the window, I'm gonna be honest with you, a lot of us we throw in the towel and we say bump it. But motivation is going to leave. Motivation is it's temporary. That's a temporary thing. That's not going to be a forever thing. When motivation leaves and you quit or not quit, when you get tired and you're on the brink of making the decision to go over this hurdle or to go back this way, the thing that's going to keep you going over the hurdle, some of y'all got kids. Some of y'all have kids. My my idea is to I don't have kids yet. But my thing is I want to be able to run around with my jits, bro. For y'all that's not from Florida, jits are little people like little kids. They there's a little one. But I want to be able to run around with my children. Sorry, because I have to realize that It's not just Floridians that's listening to this. But I want to be able to run around with my kids. I want to be able to walk with my kids. I want to be able to be active with my kids. And I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. Another thing that has me on this journey, besides that, I last year I was helping my niece and my sister. I was helping my niece move into her new apartment, helping my sister, move out of her old apartment. And I remember the day like it was yesterday, but it was literally in July of last year. And I came in, I was excited. I had left work early, came to help, changed my clothes, came to help. And before I picked up anything, I remember literally like taking a deep breath, and I remember like kind of twisting back and forth. Mind you, I had went to the gym the day before, and I had been going, but I had probably been pushing myself a bit too hard. But that was because I didn't my why was I need to hurry up. I need to get this done. I need to do this. I got to do this. It wasn't a pace. It wasn't steady. It wasn't something that I could like live with for too long. It was that superficial why. So I ended up pulling something in my back, a muscle. That muscle probably was already sore from the day before, but just a small little, twist and turn, I pulled it and I felt it. And all I could do, there was a folding chair. All I could do was sit down in that chair. I hadn't even helped yet. So anything that I picked up was light. And I was like, man, this is bad. So, long story short, that was in 2025 because we're in 2026 now. 2015, I got into a car accident. And in 2015, I wasn't driving. I probably said this on the podcast, but I was with a coworker and somebody ran into the back of us. We were headed home. He was dropping me off home. We lived in the same apartment complex. Somebody ran into the back of his car. I'm on the passenger side. He's driving. The guy hit us twice. It was bad. And he goes to the hospital. He gets into the ambulance that night. I waited until the next morning. Yeah, I definitely remember talking about this on the podcast. But that accident, apparently, I had a slip disc in my lower back. And then there was something going on with my shoulder. Um, and I was going through physical therapy. And then after a while, physical therapy ended because I didn't have any more money, but I never really got the help that I needed for those things. And I started trying to work out right before my wedding, but it was like, 2020, early in the game before COVID, because COVID was like March of 2020. So it was like I had just got engaged, and I'm like, I got a wedding coming up, not knowing COVID was about to hit and life was about to change. But I remember talking to a fitness instructor, excuse me, and I was going to LA Fitness at the time. I remember talking to this guy, and he was like, "Oh, I see you working." He's like, "But what you do?" And I told him. He's like, "Oh, you sit down a lot." He's like, "No, you gotta get up. You gotta be moving." And I told him about my accident. That was 5 years later, right? And he was like, "The only way that you're going to be able to fix that problem, you have to build the muscle." Okay, I never forgot that. So 10 years later, I'm now in the gym again, working, working, working. I end up hurting myself at my sister's house, not even working out, but I worked out already. So I came home that day and I cooked. Came home, cooked. I said, you know what? I need to lay down. Lay down, tried to get back up. I couldn't feel my legs. I could not feel my legs. I had to literally roll out of bed onto the floor. I laid down on my stomach for some time, and I had to get up to use the bathroom. So that's really why I was trying to move, but I realized that I could not. I had this sharp pain in my lower back, it like my close to my spine, and I could not move. So Anthony's like, "What's going on?" I said, "Give me a second. I can't feel anything." That was more scarier for that than it was for the accident. And I cried because the pain was unbearable. Okay. And I didn't have anything for it. So I eventually got up and I hopped my way to the bathroom. I didn't realize how low my toilet seat was, which was insane because I had to get down and get up. And it took me some time to get down and it took me some time to get up, but I made it eventually. And I was like, I can't go anywhere like this. So I ended up taking like some Tylenol because that was all I had. And I prayed, I laid down, and I text my manager at the time and I said, hey, I'm not gonna make it to work tomorrow because I can't really move. So I remember that day. Now I got up the next day. I still had some pain, but I was able to move. That went on for a little while. So I kept like icing my back. It was also like how I was laying. So I made sure that I had something under me and all this other stuff. I'm telling you all of this because that was the key to where when August came, August of 2025 was really when I like honed in and I was probably in one of the darkest places in my life in August of 2025. I remember recording videos on my phone weeping and I remember recording a video to myself saying we're going to watch this or we're going to listen to this in April of 2026 from August to April. And from August to April, I those were like that. Those were pivotal months, and I was like, my body's gonna be different. I said, no, I'm going to be a different person in April, not knowing that in April was when everything changed and it shifted, and I looked at life differently, and I said, I don't have a whole lot of time. I need to make sure that what I am doing, I'm bringing God with me, and I'm living a life that God has called me to live. I have lost too many people to sickness and they were young. Like my mom was in her 40s. I'm almost 40. My grandmother on my mom's side was in her 50s, like early 50s. She might have been like 51, 52. That's my mom's mom. My dad's mom may have been in her she may have been in her late 50s, early 60s. Um, my aunt was in her 40s. My other aunt was in her 50s. So it's like roughly around that time frame. But it's like it happened like their health declined abruptly. So when I see that, I'm like none of them were really like actively taking care of themselves, taking care of their health. It's like it started to decline and then after that it was almost like it was too late. So I'm like, oh, I need to get ahead of this because I don't want to go out like that. Like I don't want to not saying that they didn't live to the fullness of everything, but I don't want to go out like that to where I lived so much of my life feeling like I was behind only to get to a point to where I stopped in my tracks and met God in the middle of everything and he's like, "Let's go." So I'm like, "Okay, that that back pain that I felt in 2025, that triggered something in me to be like, oh no, I have all activity of my limbs. I need to make sure that I'm doing this and I'm living my life to the fullness and I'm not just, you know, just living any kind of way." So that scared me to the point to where I was like, "Oh, I got to get my life together." So when April came, which was around my birthday, it hit me. And I'm like, man, I'm 35, bro. Where has the time gone? I'm like, I remember 2020. COVID just happened. COVID was 6 years ago, guys. So I'm like, I don't have any idea of what I want to do right now. Or I can't think too far ahead because I need to take care of what I need to take care of right now. And I said, God, I can't fix everything and everybody. But the only thing I want to do is do what you called me to do, which is be a good steward over what you gave me. I don't have a whole lot that I can see at the moment, but the first thing and the only thing that I have right now is me. So help me to be a good steward over the body that you gave me so that I can have a body that you could use, because I don't want to just live in this body that you have blessed me with, and I don't want to take care of it. I don't just want it to slowly. I know we all have to go. I know that for sure. But while I'm here, I want to make sure that I'm doing what I need to do to take care of what you gave me. So that was my big like mental shift. I know I talked to you guys about the 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 thought process of it or how it all happened after the fact, but this was like in between me meeting the guy and the year and everything. So, yeah, that was the crazy part about it is that injury in July of last year actually happened after I met the guy, the fitness instructor, the trainer. That all I was going back after I had that meeting with him. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do this, and I started going, and I had no clue what I was doing, and I ended up hurting myself. And then that lasted for a few days, and I was like, okay, I started to like really meet. Something changed and something happened, and I was like, okay, I can't live my life like this forever. I can't think like, oh, I'm gonna be out of here tomorrow. I'm gonna die tomorrow, so I need to do what I can today. I realize, and I'm gonna say this, and I'm hoping that you guys understand, we can't live our entire lives in 24 hours. We're going to do what we can today. The Bible has already told us tomorrow will take care of itself. Tomorrow has its own worries. So we're not going to worry about tomorrow. We're not even going to worry. We're going to do what needs to be done today. Tomorrow has its own cares and its own worries. I'm not saying don't plan. I'm not saying don't, but what I am telling you is we can't fix everything in 24 hours. The only thing we can do is show up. And if I don't have anything on my agenda besides reading my word, talking to God, and making sure Anthony's good, making sure I'm good, I gotta go to the gym. Like that's a base. That's a baseline. It's a baseline for me. Now, whatever your baseline is, you say, no matter what happens, this is the one thing that I need to do outside of reading my word, praying, worshiping, going to work, taking care of my kids. The one thing that I need to do for myself. This is how I'm pouring back into myself. For me, it's the gym. And slowly but surely, the gym is beginning to change me as a person. It's beginning to change my identity, the way I see life, the way I think. It's beginning to do something amazing. Now, there's benefits outside of looking good, because that's going to happen if we, do this the right way. But I'm going to be honest with you, your body is going to change so much. But you have to be okay with the okay, I'm doing this. I'm working out because right now I'm doing a body recomp. That's kind of what I'm working on. And my body looks like this. And as I'm, going to the gym and eating and things are changing, my body is doing something weird. And I have days to where I'm like, oh man, I don't like the way I feel, or I don't like the way I look. I have moments like that. And, this is me personally. I'm being transparent. And then there are days where I'm like, okay, girl, look at you. There's moments where I have that. But as it's happening, it's a gradual, slow process. And that's the process that a lot of us don't always like going through. It's the slow grind. And I'm going to be honest with you, the instant gratification, throw that out the window, bro. We not, this is for me. For me. Anybody can do whatever they want. We're not doing peptides. We're not doing GLP-1s or whatever. I'm not worrying about what the new trend is, the teas and the this and the that. That's that. I can't worry about all the things that's happening, all the new trends, all the new things that's being said or put into the media. Or we're working on this and this and this, and protein is in everything now, which is crazy. Be careful, guys. But what I am saying is fall in love with just pouring into you. Fall in love with as you begin to do this and you take a step, you're pouring back into yourself. The love and the affection that you desire from other people, you can give that to you. And that's how I'm looking at it. That's how I'm seeing it. I know that this wasn't like a whole bunch of scripture, a whole bunch of other stuff, but I'm being transparent with where I am right now, and I'm just talking to you guys about the journey that I'm on. So I'm hoping, I know this episode went a little bit longer than I expected, but I'm hoping that you found hope in this. I'm hoping that you have received something from it. I'm hoping that it blessed you. If it did, make sure you guys like, comment, share, subscribe, and send it to somebody, which is sharing. But make sure you guys, do all the things. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. This has been your girl Skills. This is another episode of the Spark Something podcast. And of course, your girl Skills is out of here, baby.